What's happening, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of The Final Third, your go-to soccer podcast presented by the Gold Boys Network. It's me, one of your hosts, Sam, aka FIFA Brett, and I am joined by my fellow hosts, Mr. Brad Thomas and Betting the Pitch. I have a glass of whiskey poured right here. Gentlemen, let me do you mind if I air my frustrations about Arsenal out right now in a very short, precise burst?
The
The
stage
floor
is
is
yours, my
yours.
friend.
Thank you, thank you. This won't take long. Fuck! Okay, we're good now. Thank you. Just had to take a little bit more of my whiskey, and okay, we can continue as normal. I just had to get that off my chest. How
At
was
least you've
Champions
had an
League for you
entire night to
boys?
sleep through it.
Yeah. How was Champions League for you boys? It was a rough one for me.
Champions League was good financially,
Yeah,
and it's so sad because I moved straight over to Europa and just pissed away a bunch of money.
I always do that.
Same.
Every
Champions League
time.
was phenomenal for me, and then just got absolutely wrecked today.
Yeah.
Dude, as someone who likes props, today was the horrible day for props. I had Rafael Leao shot on target. Literally, he had two opportunities to take a shot while up a man, and he passes it. Neither
Dude.
one of those passes the other person touched.
Liao pissed me off today, and half of it I don't really blame him for because no one was passing him the ball,
No.
especially in the first half, which was really annoying to me because if he gets the ball and he gets any space, he rips it. I needed him to take a single shot in the first half for my only first half shots builder of the day. It was Liao, Salah, and Aubameyang, who usually you can rely on pretty consistently. And then, I mean, like Yunus Musa was not passing to Liao when he was clearly wide open and taking
Yep.
shots from like 30 yards out. I'm just like, bro, what are you doing?
It's just so funny too because I was like, man, I could just sit back and relax now they're up a man. I did ladder corners. I hit two out of the three corners that I hit, except for the only one I didn't hit was 11 and a half. But then the shots were what really killed me. And I'm just like, it was just so frustrating. And my boy who was I was texting during the game is a Milan fan. And before the game, he asked me if he should bet on Milan. And I said, but Milan to qualify. And I said, no. I said, Roma always give Milan trouble.
Yeah.
I texted him and I go, listen, bro, this is your chance. They were dreadful. And then let's not even talk
Awful.
about Liverpool. I
Yeah.
did hit Liverpool money line, which was okay, whatever.
Wow.
But I
Yeah.
lost their corners, lost Luis Diaz, 3+ shots.
hmm
I had over 2.5 with my first half shots parlay.
Yeah.
It was just, I just think that team is just tired of expectation, just kind of catching up to them.
They took 10 shots the entire game, 2 shots in the second half. And this is a team that has been putting up 20 to 25 shots
Yeah.
every game for like a month straight. I had them, and this is why I wasn't complaining too much about Yunus Musa taking shots from 30 yards out because I needed Milan shots in my
Yeah.
shots lotto. I laddered Marseille shots, Milan shots, and Liverpool shots. I was like, every team that's down, take them to
Yep.
shoot. It's not that difficult. If they stay losing, they're going to rip shots. Marseille, I actually got lucky on Marseille because they scored with their 18th shot. So FanDuel paid it out. And then Opta, in their fucking weird sense of, I'm going to just take away shit for the sake of it, took away one of the shots that happened previously. So they went down to 17 shots and then never got the 18th. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming FanDuel's going to try and take that money back, but my balance is 0, so I'm in the clear. But I got paid on that, and then it was Marseille 18, AC Milan 18, Liverpool 24, which was fairly reasonable. And I was like, Liverpool had 8 shots at halftime, and I was like, okay, that's a good spot. A lot of shots
Yeah.
come in the second half. They start getting desperate. You start ripping, and then they took 2 shots that entire half, and I was just like, this team is fucked. It's done. I no longer trust them for anything.
No.
Yeah, I feel like they're really struggling right now. I mean,
Yeah.
just really struggling. Before today, back-to-back games being shut out, numerous chances being missed. Just poor quality today.
Solid didn't look good either.
Yeah.
No, and I was expecting. I mean, their only goal was a penalty today.
Yeah,
right?
When was
it's
the last
not
time
even
they
like
scored a goal from open play?
right. It's not like they even scored an open goal place, or so it's like I don't know what's going on with them. I stayed away from that game because I just didn't. I don't know what to think of Liverpool right now.
Yeah.
They do not have a good headspace. They cannot be a good locker room right now.
No.
I think my favorite tweet that I saw was hey, Klopp's farewell tour. Farewell to the FA Cup in March. Farewell to the Premier League last weekend. Farewell to the Europa League today.
Oh my
That's
gosh, that's
brutal.
awesome.
That is brutal. That is brutal. But well, I suppose we should talk about Real Madrid. Let's let Mr. Pitch enjoy this moment. Talk to us about this Madrid game because you did it. You did it. You beat the cheating oil club. So now everyone can go back to hating you as the team that's won the most Champions Leagues. Like somehow beforehand you were the underdog. Now we can be like, it's Madrid. Fuck them. Apart from, the Madrid fans, of course. But you
I
did
mean,
it. You did it.
yeah, I mean, we did it. It wasn't pretty. I mean, City just controlled the game. I mean, just tons of shots, tons of chances. Lunin played phenomenal in goal. He was just unbelievable. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what else to say. I'm not going to try and, get in a debate with any City fans or anything like that. They're saying we got lucky, the better team lost, or the better team lost. Yeah, like it
I'll
is what
fucking
it is.
stand it.
When it comes to Champions League, there's that pedigree like we talked about with Bayern versus Arsenal and things like that. And Madrid just found a way. They got that early goal. They were hanging on for a while. I mean, hanging on for dear life for a while. And I'm not gonna lie, when City tied it up, I was like, oh shit, like
Yeah.
that was coming, like it was due. They were just, but yeah, it was awesome, and then seeing some of the videos and like the PK of Kepa talking to Lunin
Yes.
about Silva
Yep.
shooting in the
So cool.
center, and then Rudiger kind of pointing left when Kovacic came up to take his, like, that's fucking awesome. Like,
Yeah.
and who knows if that really happened or if like,
I
Lunin
mean, it
saw
makes
that or whatever, but
sense.
like
Yeah.
it was just awesome to see that like they're just a team. I mean, I really feel like this Madrid team is like they're just a team, and Jude Bellingham is just guy's unbelievable. Like he's so passionate for Madrid. It's so awesome to see. And his after game interview was just
He was
mature. Like,
incredibly well spoken in that interview. And
yeah,
it's
he's
good.
just mature
Yeah.
beyond his years, like everyone says, and
And he's
it's
like
just so
20.
awesome to see. I
Yeah.
know.
It's
But
crazy.
yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited to face Bayern now. I think it's going to be another great battle.
I'm so fucking hyped for that game because like
Yeah,
as
I'm
much
happy that
as
the second leg is going to
yeah,
be in Madrid. Like, I'm really
yeah.
happy about that. I think that kind of gives us a little bit of advantage. But it's going to be tough in Germany for sure.
I think that game is going to be a player prop heaven.
Oh yeah.
Like as much as, it's tough as an Arsenal fan, obviously, to lose, but after the first leg, I didn't really think we were going through. But when Arsenal try to like eke out a game, we don't play like City do. We don't rack up the shots. We try to control the game, which is a very valid style of football, and it has been very effective for us. It was been effective against City in the league, so we know it works, but it's not fun necessarily to bet on. And Bayern love to attack, don't really know how to defend. Madrid love to attack, don't really know how to defend. Like, yes, you held off City, but they also
Hmm.
had 3 XG. So,
Oh yeah,
like it's like it's defending, but is that really defending? I'm not going to say Madrid got lucky, but you are fortunate that City did not take their chances.
absolutely.
So I think this is going to be just like balls to the wall action, just back and forth. I hope the first leg's another like 2-2, 3-3 thriller like the City Madrid first leg was.
I think it's gonna be. I think
I
Bayern's
think
gonna have to
so.
come out and put up a crooked number,
Yeah,
if they're gonna go back to Spain and, think they're gonna have any sort of chance.
yeah, for sure. I'm really excited about that one. And then Dortmund and PSG is going to be an interesting one
That
because
one's
they
gonna
were
be
in the
real
group
interesting.
stage together. So they've played each other twice in the
Yep.
Champions League already. I think one was a tie and then one was a PSG win. So
That's
we'll
gonna be a good one
see.
too.
It
Yeah.
feels
I,
like we're getting a PSG and Madrid final. It feels like Mbappe versus Madrid. You
And
know,
then Madrid wins, and then it's, if you can't beat them, join them. Welcome Mbappe,
uh-huh.
I
You'd like it that way.
would
Fair.
love
If
it
I
that way.
if I had to choose, I would take that because I just love the fact that PSG have never won a Champions League, and I would love for that to continue because they are in the same boat as City, and that's why I was so upset when City finally won one because I was like, "Fuck, the money finally paid off." it still hasn't paid off for PSG, and they've been doing the oil money shit for longer than City have.
Billions of
So,
dollars, not
yeah,
Yes.
millions, billions.
it's crazy, and it's only going to get worse. Like I know, like I want Osimhen at Arsenal, but I know he's going to PSG if Mbappe leaves. Like
Yeah.
it just feels like the move they would do. So I would just love it if they didn't win.
I mean, they got lucky in that game. I mean, I wouldn't say lucky, but that red card clearly just changed
That did
the
change the
whole
Changed
landscape.
the
the
game,
whole
but it was a red
whole game.
card.
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely was a red.
definitely a red card.
Barcelona fans trying to say that it was a soft red. It's like, I'm sorry, if you're the last man and
Yeah,
I
and
mean,
you
that's the
cheat.
rule. That's the
You
rule.
pull down the
cheat,
guy.
blatantly cheat. Doesn't matter
Yeah.
how soft it is.
I know.
You stopped a goal scoring opportunity.
Clear goal scoring opportunity. And it's like Barcola cooked him. You know what I mean? Everyone
Yeah.
says Araujo's this like fantastic defender, and it's just because he like slams his chest whenever he puts one tackle in on Vinny during your semi-annual El Clasico, which is coming up this weekend, by the way. Super hyped. And he's not that good. He's really not that good, and he got absolutely cooked. Tried to just dragged him down from behind, and it's a clear red. I thought the penalty was soft. I'll give the Barca fans that one. I thought the penalty was a bit soft. But it was also
It was soft, but I didn't think he needed to challenge him
yes,
like
it was
that.
also a very idiotic challenge. So
Yeah, like
you
he
get what
didn't.
you get.
Yeah, he didn't need to challenge him at all like that,
Yep.
and it was a tad soft. I would
Dembele
agree
was
with that.
going away from the goal, so I was just
Yes,
like, yeah, did you get the ball
I think it was a
first?
frustration type thing.
Yeah, it was just stupid. He wasn't thinking.
No,
It
no.
is what it is. So now we have our semi-final matchups. We have PSG against Dortmund. We have Bayern against Madrid. I'll be honest, our predictions didn't go brilliantly for the quarterfinals. I got
Hey, 2 out of
one.
4 is all we need. I think we made money, right? Like
I guess, yeah, because you picked the dogs. You guys picked the dogs, so you got
Mhm.
PSG and yeah, who else did you get right? Oh, Bayern, I
Bayern.
assume, yeah. That was close to even money. So yeah, you probably would have PSG were definitely a nice big fat plus number. So
plus
that
350.
that would have seen you go through. Yeah. Meanwhile, I'm sitting over here with 1 out of 4 right, and the one that I got right was my own club being knocked out. So I'm fucked. Like
That's
just
so brutal, dude.
royally doubly fucked. Like I didn't even back. If I'd backed my own team, at least I'd go out like a man and be 0-4.
Oh
But
my god, that's so
You
funny. I
know
didn't
what's
think
sad
about
too
that.
is like none of us picked Dortmund,
yeah,
and I don't know why I didn't pick Dortmund. I have such a big
I don't
wager
fucking know
on
why either.
Atletico to advance, and I was like, I could have just hedged. Like I didn't, and to the point is, I didn't even look at the hedge price.
yeah.
Like I never even looked at Dortmund to advance.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why I didn't pick them
I
either because I
yeah,
was on their team total for that game, and I liked them to score, and I
yeah.
liked them at home, but I don't know. I thought Atletico would come out with a better game plan than they did, but yeah,
I gave too much respect to Simeone's ability to put up a good defense because they folded
yeah.
so quickly. And then as
I
soon
mean
as
that place was rocking too. Those fans
yeah,
got into it after they went up 2-0, and it was just
yeah.
there was no turning back.
And then you remember that Atletico are in fact quite shit away from home. And I'm annoyed at myself that I forgot that.
Yeah.
So, who do we think is going through to the final? I have already hinted at what I think. I feel like we're getting a PSG Madrid final. Unfortunately, that is the chalk. I looked up the odds, and if you parlay those, it's basically a builder. It's just above even money, which is
Oh
rough.
no.
Yeah, that's gross because they're both like minus 200 to advance. So Dortmund and Bayern are definitely up against it. But what do you guys think? Brad, what do you think?
I definitely think PSG is going to advance. I think Madrid's going to advance. No, I
Brad.
legitimately think Madrid's going to advance. But
Yeah.
I've bet against Bayern like freaking back-to-back times. They bit me in the bum. Like I'm
Yeah.
sick of it. I'm sick of it. I just feel like I have no idea how those games are going to go, right?
Yeah.
Like
I'm
Tuchel's
with
so
you.
pragmatic, like. But Madrid with Ancelotti is going to be like, all right, you guys are going to be on the ball and we're just going to do our thing in Madrid.
Mhm.
So I literally have no idea what's going to happen.
I
I
think
think
it's
Madrid advances though.
I think it's one of those things where I think Madrid are going through, but I think if you hang a number at plus 180 to plus 200 on Bayern to go through, I would take that because I don't think they should be that disrespected. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I think with PSG and Madrid being at home, the second leg is a little bit of advantage to them. For me, which kind of worries me with Madrid and Bayern is that this is what Bayern has to play for. Like they're not winning the league, obviously. So this is it for them. And that's going to be, that's a tough team to play, like a desperate team like that when this is like the trophy that they're going for this year. But with that being said, like, I mean, I'm on the same picks as you, Sam. I'm going PSG,
Yeah.
Madrid for a final.
I agree. I agree. And something else and this has come into play because as an Arsenal fan, like I acknowledge that we didn't play I acknowledge we didn't play brilliantly. That's, it is what it is. But I try and draw a line somewhere. And a lot of people were saying that Arsenal bottled it because they lost to one of the worst Bayern teams in ages. And I was thinking about this, and I disagree to a certain extent. You know, I think we're so used to Bayern, winning the Bundesliga, but it's not necessarily, at least in my opinion. I'm curious to know what you guys think about this because I looked it up and I was like, oh, that's interesting. Bayern won the league last year on something like 71 points, I believe it was.
Yeah.
They're on 63 points now with 5 games to go. So they should smash that. Typically, they won the Bundesliga with a low to mid, and if it was a really good season, probably a high 70s points total. Leverkusen have smashed that out of the water because they are putting up one of the most ridiculous seasons. They still haven't lost a game. Like, I don't think.
And I think Dortmund bottled that last year,
Yes.
right?
Yeah, they did.
Exactly. Like Dortmund should have won on the last day and they screwed it up. So to be fair, Bayern also scored a last minute winner. So, they still had to win their game. So they still had to do something. But I don't think that this Bayern team is bad. I just think they've finally been met by a fellow Bundesliga side that knows how to play really well.
Yeah.
And they're doing about as well as they've always done. Yeah, are they throwing away stupid games? Like, yeah, probably a Bayern from 2 or 3 years ago isn't blowing a 2-0 lead to newly promoted FC Heidenheim. That's probably going to happen this year, sure. But they're playing about as well as they have done historically. And I think saying that Bayern have been really shit this year is almost disrespectful for how impressive what Leverkusen have done. Like, Leverkusen have played incredibly well and have beaten, they're going to put up a points total that would have beaten most of Bayern's winning seasons.
Yeah.
So,
I think we've been so spoiled by Bayern being so good for so long that this year when they're losing those games versus newly promoted teams and bottom half of the table teams, we're just like, all right, this Bayern side's trash. But they are very good. They're very strong. They're solid throughout. Neuer's back in net, so
exactly. So that was, the Arsenal fan in me wanted to sort of, defend myself to a certain extent. I was like, okay, look, we still lost 3-2 on aggregate to a Bayern Munich side. And keep in mind that the Bayern Munich versus Arsenal historically, the last time we played 2 legs, it was 10-2 on aggregate. So 3-2 isn't that bad. And Bayern aren't as bad as everyone's saying. So I still think they're a good team. I think Madrid have to respect them to a certain extent because this is like the original Super Classico. This is like the original, this is what City and Madrid, City Madrid has now become like the Champions League classic matchup.
Yep.
That used to be Bayern Madrid, the two like absolutely massive European powerhouses. So I'm really looking forward to that semifinal particularly. I think that was going to be really interesting.
All right, so let me ask you, who do you have winning it all?
Madrid. No hesitation. They've got Champions League pedigree, and I think that they should handle Bayern over 2 legs, and then I'm assuming they're going to play PSG. And I think if the World Cup has told us anything, is that playing Mbappe for 90 or 120 minutes if you need him to is not enough to win against a very solid, well-rounded team.
Yeah.
So, as long as you defend Mbappe, like Madrid kept Haaland in check. They know how to keep the main guy in check. They're just not very good at closing down the space that then opens up when you double cover the superstar. Haaland basically did nothing, but then you leave Foden, De Bruyne, and all those guys open at the edge of the box to create a load of stuff. I don't really think PSG have guys on the same level as City's midfielders. Maybe Vitinha bangs in Vitinha had a sick goal, so fair enough. Maybe he can bang one in. But I don't think it's on the same level. And if you can handle Mbappe, which we know Madrid probably can, then I think they'll win. They have Rodrigo, they have Vinny, they have Jude. One of those three is going to create at least a goal, if not two, and I think that's all they need.
Yeah, I'm on Madrid too, obviously. I
I
mean,
know,
I'm
I
just
know.
gonna
He's like,
know.
yo, you don't have to say it. I already know, man. I already
I just
know.
wanted to answer just in case anyone was confused. Like, yes, I'm on Madrid.
Brad, what do you think?
I think Madrid as well. I think
All
they're
right.
like what's crazy is like they got all the hard work out of the way.
Yeah,
Playing against City was the championship to me.
yeah. I think
Yeah,
everyone
I
agreed
feel
with
like
that.
whoever won that game was gonna probably win Champions League.
Madrid, fun fact, I was looking it up. Madrid were plus 850 going into the start of the second leg to win the Champions League. They are now on FanDuel plus 135.
Wow.
So
I only have
definitely the
PSG future
favorites.
left. That's all I got, man. And I'm not taking anything else.
Wow, fair enough. Yeah, I would not take Madrid at plus 135, but they're
No.
probably going to win. And it seems like we're all in agreement that they're probably going to win.
Yeah, there's
Fair
no value
enough.
there. There's no value there.
Yeah. Alrighty, well, that's the Champions League wrapped up. We never had to talk about this tournament again because Arsenal have been knocked out. So, who cares about it? Who cares about it?
It
We can
doesn't
talk,
exist anymore. It's
doesn't
over.
exist anymore. I can go back to what I've been doing since 2017, which is not caring. And yeah, let's talk about the upcoming weekend, which is much more fun. Premier League action. There are a few actually really quite important games that I want to talk about. The first one being Sheffield United against Burnley. This is massive, massive relegation implications here. Because Sheffield, I mean, to be fair, Sheffield are probably fucked. As much as I don't want them to be, they probably are. They're on 16 points. Burnley are on 20, and Luton are on 25. And then outside the relegation zone, Forest on 26 and Everton on 27. I really think it's going to be between those five teams, and Sheffield are probably done. So the emphasis is really on Burnley here to get a result away from home. And that would put them on 23 points right behind Luton. What do you guys think? How's this one going? Because this is the big one for relegation.
I still think that I think Sheffield will play much of this match on the front foot, and Burnley are just going to try to beat him on the break.
Yeah.
And I think they can. I think from like we have to talk about this. Like, are we talking about this from a betting perspective? Or are we talking about this from just a sheer fact of what I think's gonna happen? I think that Burnley is live to win this, but the price I don't agree with. I would rather bet Sheffield United than Burnley's price. I took some betting action in this match. I put Brereton Diaz shot on target and at least one goal in this match was even money.
That's sick. I love him. He's
Two
been a
days ago, yeah.
great. It's not going to save them, but he's been a great loan signing. I hope.
Yes.
I hope he stays in the Prem because they're going down. Although I would like to bet on him in the Championship because he was good for. I think it was Blackburn. Because I believe who does he belong to?
Yep.
Someone in Spain.
Yeah.
Is it Villarreal or someone like that?
He was with Blackburn.
He was with Blackburn, and then a La Liga side bought him permanently and then
Yeah, it
loaned
was
him out to
Villarreal. It was
Villarreal.
I
Villarreal.
couldn't remember.
Yeah. So
Yep.
I wonder if he goes back home or if he goes somewhere else. But I like him a lot. He's been great.
Very
Props
great.
wise to bet on.
Like he's been like one of those guys where you can bet him shot on target of just about anybody. I think he's hit it like every start except like maybe against when they played City and
Yeah.
they got dog walked in that match.
Yeah.
But now he has a minus sign in front of it, like a big minus sign. So I had to get creative and add that extra little boost to get it to even money.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I got probably nothing in this one for me right now. I mean, both teams are really out of form, playing awful right now. Sheffield haven't kept a clean sheet in 13. Burnley haven't kept a clean sheet in 16 straight. So it's just like, if you're going to go for, I think Sheffield have nothing to lose at this point. So
Yeah.
I feel like Brad said they're going to go for it, probably be on the front foot. Burnley's probably going to try and catch them on the counter, but they're going to have to take chances. I mean, they can't sit back and just do nothing. I mean, they're fighting for their relegation lives as well.
Yeah, they do have a game in hand. I had not actually noticed that. So if they do win their game in hand, now they're on 19 and Burnley are on 20, which makes it a lot more interesting towards the end of the season.
Yeah.
We'll see. Next, what I want to talk about, Wolves against Arsenal. And the reason I want to talk about this is because I don't know how it's going to go. And I want to get your guys' opinion on this because the Arsenal fan in me says this is a bounce back game. We're going to tear the ever living shit out of them because we somehow play better away from home. And it's at the Wolves Stadium. And, maybe we beat them 4 or 5-0. The other part of the Arsenal fan in me, the one that doubts, acknowledges that this is the month of April. And April is when everything goes to shit for Arsenal. And we now haven't won a game in 3 games. So do we get punished by Wolves and just, is this it? Do we capitulate? Is it over? Or do we blow them out the water after getting knocked out of the Champions League?
I placed a bet on this already.
Okay, let's hear
I
it.
took Arsenal -1.5.
Fuck yes. Fuck
I
yes. Let's
flirted
go,
with
Brad. Let's fucking go, Brad.
I flirted with Arsenal to win in under 3.5 goals, under 4.5 goals, but then I was doing the math. Your last 10 wins, 5 of those were under 3.5, but then the other 5 were at least 6 goals. So I mean at least 5 goals. So I was like, no, I'm just gonna take -1.5. I also did a little bit more digging into big clubs and title races coming off of quarterfinal or semifinal losses in Champions League.
Oh, yeah.
And only like one instance in the past like 3 to 4 years did I find one club that just absolutely shit the bed their next match. And that was 2022 Real Madrid against Valencia. But I don't even think that counts because Real Madrid was down a man. They got booked in that match.
Sure.
And so then I like even looked like there was one where it was a close match with like Inter Milan, maybe in 2021, but they weren't in the title race. There was another Juventus who was in the title race, but then they played Salernitana and they won 2-0. Like, so I did some digging and I just didn't see any correlation. Nothing where I could say Arsenal are going to just automatically come out flat. I think them being in the title race helps them a lot more in this situation, but also tactically, Wolves, like betting against Wolves, you want teams that are going to be able to get in behind the defense, right? The back line. That's why like we bet on West Ham against Wolves. When Wolves go on the break, they're really bad transitioning back. It happened when you guys played them at the Emirates, and you guys were up 2-0 at halftime, or 2-0 by the 60th. I mean, I can't remember the exact score line. And then you basically took your foot off the gas. And you only took 7 shots in that second half. And most of those came within the first like 20 minutes of the second half. They scored like an 86th or 89th goal from Cunha. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that if you guys go up 2-0, you're just going to keep scoring. It's one of those frustration games. So tactically, I think you're in a good position to blow them out.
God, I hope so.
Yeah, I think Arsenal win this game. As far as a betting aspect, I couldn't find any much value. I was kind of maybe leaning both teams to score at like -110. But with Arsenal, I mean, this is it for them. Obviously, being knocked out of the Champions League, like they gotta go for it now for the Prem. But the Wolves are a tough team. I mean, they really are. Like they're a tough team to bet against. They're a tough team to kind of gauge. They're still dealing with some injuries, but they're also getting some guys back. And they do play aggressive. They take a ton of shots. They play aggressive. So I'm excited to see what kind of tactics Arsenal puts together. If they just kind of, like Brad said, go up 2 maybe and sit on it, or if they just continue to pour it on and kind of play an open match back and forth with Wolves. So yeah, nothing for me betting wise right now, but I do think Arsenal take this match.
I hope you guys are right, because I need Wolves to just completely capitulate in this game. And then I'm really begging for them to do a favor against City, because they actually beat City 2-1 earlier in the year. So I'm just like, guys, come on.
They're a tough team to gauge.
Do
They
this
really
for me.
are.
Yeah. I just want them to, I need them to do the reverse of what Villa did, where Villa absolutely let City roll all over them and just destroy them. And then, because they were resting a bunch of guys, and then they decided to turn up against Arsenal. Like, okay, thanks, guys. Why didn't you turn up against City? Having beaten them 1-0 in the reverse fixture, you just let them score, 4 goals or whatever the score of that game was. So now I need Wolves to, reverse it, let us beat them, and then go and beat City. Because at the end of the day, we need City to drop points somewhere. And outside of Wolves and Spurs, I hold very little hope of anyone else doing it. And those are both long shots at best. So we'll see how it goes. A couple other Premier League games I like. Everton Forest is another relegation battle. I've come to the conclusion that Everton might be the key to this entire relegation battle, because they play Forest this weekend, and that's a battle between 16th and 17th, the 2 teams outside the relegation zone. They also play Brentford in a couple of weeks' time, and that's 15th against 16th. And then Everton's last game of the season, well, Arsenal is their last game of the season, but the 2 games before they play Arsenal, Luton and Sheffield United. So that run of games, like they have Forest and they have Liverpool, which is a derby, but they're probably going to lose to Liverpool. I mean, I say that now, but with Liverpool's current form, who knows? They have Forest, they have Liverpool, Brentford, Luton, Sheffield, Arsenal. That is a ton of apart from Arsenal and
Yeah.
Liverpool, that's 4 teams in the bottom 4 or 5 teams in the Premier League, all playing each other at the end of it. So that's going to be such an interesting run. But they have Forest this weekend, which I guess is the beginning of that. Everton are at home. What do we think?
Man, this was a tough one for me. I wanted to take both teams to score, but it was minus 145, which
Yeah.
honestly, to think about, like, I think both teams to score is hitting Everton's like last 5 matches or 4 out of 5 matches.
Yeah.
And then since Nuno took over at Forest, literally every match feels like it's both teams to score. I think it's like 15 of the last 20 since Nuno took over back in December. But like, there's always that one match in the Premier League that is the absolute stinker.
Yeah.
And if I had to circle one of those matches, it would be this. I did take Everton first half corner handicap. Forest are on this insane losing streak away from home on the corner handicap. And surprisingly, Everton, the way they play yields a lot of corners. I have no idea how, but sometimes they're surprisingly efficient in getting corners in the first half. All you need to do is for them to win by 1 to get half your stake, and to win by 2 is a full cash. But from like an outcome, I think this is a draw. I wrote about this in my article, so I'm not trying to double dip here and say the same stuff, so people aren't hearing the same exact stuff. But pretty much like you have 2 teams. One team, Everton, who've only won 3 or 4 matches at home so far this season, and then you have a Forest team who only won 2 matches on the road this season. How would you want to trust either team to pick up the victory here? Feels like a stalemate. I don't even know what the draw price is. Let's see. I'll look real quick. Plus 250 sounds kind of reasonable.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Yeah. This one, yeah, this is another one, another pass for me on this one. It just like Brad was saying, I was looking at the same stats. Like Everton's not very good at home. Forest are not very good on the road. I see both teams to score at minus 130 on bet 365 though, which
Oh,
is
that's nice.
decent.
That's
Yeah, it's
nice.
better. I would maybe lean that, or maybe just wait and see how like the first 15 minutes of this match
Yeah.
goes, and maybe try and get it at a better price live. See if it's like an open type match back and forth, or if both these teams are just gonna play in the midfield and nothing much is gonna come of it. So right now it's a pass. I don't have a play in this one.
Fair enough. Alrighty. Well, there are a couple of other games I want to talk about. Palace against West Ham. Just because I need to know the answer to the question, are Crystal Palace good? And I'm curious to know what you guys think, because I think West Ham are shit. I think we've answered that question now. But are Palace good? Because I know you were talking about, Brad, how each game, and like, there's always one stinker in the Prem. This could be it, because West Ham are a weird team right now, and Palace I usually don't trust, but now they have Eze and Elise back, and they just beat Liverpool. So are Palace good?
Well. Listen, when I say there's one stinker in the Premier League every week, I kind of just overlook the Palace matches because generally, I mean, under Roy Hodgson, they're really stinkers. But even with Glasner at the helm, like away from home, they've been freaking god awful.
Yeah.
I would like from a betting perspective, I wish that I could have got a plus money price on Palace draw no bet, but I can't take them at at plus a quarter. But West Ham literally just grinded out freaking 90 plus minutes on the road. I mean, at home, but against a tough team. I did think this is the day that we should ladder as a shots though. West Ham allow like the third most shots per match in the Premier League. I took a little smaller bet. I went with Eze 2+ shots and Elise 2+ shots.
I
It
like
gave
it.
me like minus 120. But I
Huh.
haven't decided if I'm gonna ladder. I think I need to just take a deep breath after losing all that money in Europa. Like all my hard work from Champions League just squandered. I think like all the money I made in Champions League minus Europa, I have $50 like profit. Profit's nice,
Hey, that's a
but
dinner.
but
That's dinner for one right there,
I want
baby.
to have some funds to just go nuts on Eze. But I just feel like even like okay, with David Moyes possibly like getting the news that he's not going to be back next season, what kind of response are West Ham going to get, right? Are they going to go out there and just get dog walked by Palace, or are they going to try to put up for their coach a little bit? Because I think they actually respect David Moyes.
Yeah, he's a good manager. They just won a fucking trophy, their first trophy in decades.
Yeah.
A year ago, less than a year ago. So I do think the club should respect him to a certain extent, even though I don't think he's the greatest manager in the world. He still brought you your first trophy. Is it a Conference League? Yeah, but that's basically a Champions League to teams like West Ham, you know?
Yeah, I mean, with Eze and Elise back, I kind of like the over in this game. I don't know why. I just it feels like an over to me. And when I look at people take or leave this stat, their head-to-head matchups.
Yeah.
Some people are like, you can't look at head-to-head, different rosters, different managers. I get all that. But the last 10 head-to-heads, both teams to score have hit 10 out of 10.
That's
More than two and
nice.
a half goals has hit the last 5 out of 6. Palace hasn't kept a clean sheet in 19 straight versus West Ham. So just a lot pointing towards goals in this one. And I want to get your guys' take on West Ham because to me, they have such a strong lineup. But for some reason, they just like, is it me? Like when I look at their lineup, like even today, hold on, let me pull it up today. They had, Bowen
Antonio,
was back.
Bowen, Kudus,
Ward
yeah.
Prowse, Kudos,
No
Antonio,
Paqueta. No
Souček,
Paqueta today.
Paqueta's
Alvarez
out,
was
yeah.
back. Yeah, I mean Paqueta's a huge miss
Did
for
Bowen
them.
play the full 90?
He did. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow.
I thought he was hurt. I guess not.
Yeah, he played the full 90. Ward Prowse played full 90. Kudos, Antonio all played the full 90.
Jesus.
But if Paqueta, like based on obviously the lineups for this matchup, I just feel like just West Ham just underperforming their talent that they have and the roster that they have. But for me, this feels like goals in this match.
Hey, that would be great. Because goals usually means shots, which is what's right up my alley. And Palace, I had a shots lotto, which just missed last weekend. It was Palace against Liverpool. And I was just like, I knew I wanted to do this because I was like, if Elise is back, Eze and Elise first half shots are money because they work so well
Oh
together.
yeah.
So I had Elise, Eze, Nunez, and Salah to take two first half shots each.
Oh my gosh.
And it died on a Salah shot.
Oh my
Eze
god.
and Elise got theirs. Nunez got his too, but Salah for some reason just was not firing. And I was just like, really? That's how this is going to die? Not on Palace, but on Mohamed Salah not getting a second shot in the first half. It was so infuriating. I
That's
mean,
brutal.
that it was one of I think almost 10. I think I can count on two hands how many lottos I've missed by a single, whether it's a single prop, whether it's a shot, whether it was a rebound, looking at you, Peyton Pritchard, or any kind of prop like that. I've had so many things died. Like the Bills and the Straits have been hitting, but the lottos, and we're talking like plus 3,000 to like plus
Oh
6,000, like some
God.
crazy ones. I think
Those hurt.
the one I was most pissed about was in the Arsenal game because I had Sacco two first half shots, and then I split like a tenth of a unit between Diaby two first half shots and McGinn two first half shots because they were both playing on the right hand side and Zinchenko was starting. And
Yep.
whenever Zinchenko starts, all you have to do is take any shots or to score or assist on the guy playing on the right side because he's such a liability. And Diaby had one shot that half, and McGinn had one shot that half. And then in the last minute of the half, McGinn and Digne were lined up over a free kick from about 25 yards out. And
No.
McGinn stepped back. He was like all like Ronaldo, like chest puffed, like ready to take it. And then Digne was standing right next to the ball and he took it. And I was just like, you fucking dick. That was the plus 6,000 as well. And I was just like, you fucking prick.
That's
What a
It
brutal.
was
what a
brutal.
tease.
Anyway, the point is, I'm probably going to run something like that back. The difficult part is picking who on West Ham is going to take the two shots because it's probably not going to be Paqueta because Paqueta doesn't shoot as much as people think. But you could go Antonio, you could go Bowen, you could go Kudus. So I got to pick two of those three to take the shots for West Ham. Now, depending on the lineup. So hopefully one of them sits and I don't have to choose. And it's a front three of Bowen at striker, Paqueta and Kudus, and then I'm not going to take Paqueta. So We'll see, but that's what I have lined up for this game because I love Palace with Eze and Elise playing. The fact that they've only played, I think it was 4 going into the Liverpool game, and now it's 5 games where both of them have been healthy and starting, is crazy.
Yeah. If they're both starting, yeah, I'm definitely leaning for goals in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Elise might be an Arsenal player in the summer if the Guardian is anything to be believed. So I guess we'll see about that. And then the other Premier League game I wanted to talk about was Fulham against Liverpool, just because Fulham are a weird team to bet on because sometimes they do things like beat Spurs 3-0, and then sometimes they lose to teams like Bournemouth or Forest. And you're kind of like, okay, are you good or are you bad? The one thing I do know about Fulham is that Muniz continues to be a first half shots wagon. He's now, I think he has at least one in well over 10 games in a row. So if he gets bettable shot props, I'm taking him. And if Salah and Nunez are back in the starting lineup, then I'm going to take them as well because have I been burned on them? Yeah. Are they the most trustworthy guys? Yeah. So that's going to be interesting. But I'm very curious to see if Liverpool are well and truly broken or if they come back and just absolutely beat the living shit out of Fulham, which is very possible.
For the first time in what feels like forever, I'm not betting a Liverpool match.
Wow.
I'm just not. There's no like. I was talking on the Bet US show today. The only way I would bet it would be both teams to score and Liverpool double chance. It gives you plus money.
I like that.
Or if you think there's gonna be goals. I just don't think that Liverpool lose the match, but I don't want to think about having to bet them to win, especially not at the prices that they have.
Fair
Yeah,
enough.
this is another one that's the lines were kind of juiced when I was looking for some value. I think both teams are scoring over 2.5 was like minus 140, which is like borderline for me. But Fulham, like you said, they're actually been good at home this season.
Very good at home. Yeah.
29 goals and only 16 conceded in 16 matches, 9 wins, 1 draw, 6 losses. And I mean, we talked about Liverpool at the beginning of the pod. I mean, who actually feels comfortable backing them right now? You know, so could you imagine Fulham just beating Liverpool? I mean, I could see it happening. I think they're like plus 450 or something like that on the money line. So I don't know. I'm gonna wait to see what lineups look like. Who Liverpool starts in this one, especially up front. But yeah, I mean, it definitely feels like goals in this match and possibly an upset.
If you guys want a fun one, I just looked this up. Fulham to score the first goal and Liverpool to win is plus 640.
Bro,
That's
I
cool.
did that when they
I
played
like
against
that.
United.
Yeah,
I like that.
it's such a
That's a
fun
fun little
angle
prop.
because
Yeah.
it was so interesting. And this is what the commentators were saying during the Palace Liverpool game. They were like, Palace is the worst team at dropping points when they take a lead, and Liverpool is the best team at recovering points when they go down first. Because Liverpool have done it a lot this season where they concede the first goal and then end up winning like 3-1, 4-1, or maybe it's a 2-all game where they let them back in. But they do so well coming from behind, which sadly has just been pointed out to me is something that Arsenal aren't good at. In comparison, Arsenal have gone down first in 11 games. They've only won one of those 11 games. So, not to make everything about Arsenal, but that like everyone, there are levels to this, and that's something Liverpool are really good at. And you kind of have to be good at it to be, considered an elite team. So everyone was kind of expecting Liverpool to come back in that Palace game, and then they never did. But it could be a fun one for this Fulham game because Fulham
Yep.
aren't bad at home and they've got good players. I like Muniz. Willian has always got a couple of tricks in his locker. I think Pereira is nice, and Iwobi's next Arsenal player, so I respect him a lot as well.
Yeah, I think this one it could be interesting. I would lean Liverpool. Like if I was just picking a winner, I'd probably lean Liverpool, but
Yeah.
I would never bet on them right now. Not with what they got going on, the form that they're in. But they have a lot to play for. Obviously, once again, another team that's knocked out of another competition, Europa
Yeah.
League. So that's it. I mean,
Everyone's
they got
out.
to chase it. They got to chase the title now.
Everyone's out. I think that might be the one thing that I'm upset about Madrid going through is that now, Arsenal and Liverpool may have had a slight edge if City had to continue with fixture congestion, playing in a semi-final and potentially a final. Now they have nothing. Now
Right.
not only do they have nothing, they're pissed.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So thanks for that. Now we're really screwed. But So yeah, we'll see. We'll see how the Premier League shapes out. But it's time to switch over to a different league. And there aren't many games that I want to talk about elsewhere, just because a lot of these leagues are wrapped up. But I feel like it makes sense to go to La Liga because we have El Clasico this weekend. We have Madrid against Barcelona. Barcelona out of the Champions League. Madrid are into the semi-finals. It really is a tale of two seasons. Last year, Barcelona looked so good compared to Madrid, and this year, it's been completely flipped on its head. I think the only thing that's worth noting is that Ancelotti said that the Madrid players that played 120 minutes against City will probably not start this game. So that's an interesting one to consider because that's guys like Jude. That's I think it was Jude. I might have to double
Yeah.
check this,
Yeah,
but
he played the full 120.
it wasn't Vinny. Vinny took a break.
No, but
But
I think Vinny's dealing with a little injury. I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if he rests this match.
Jude, Camavinga,
I would
Fetty,
be
Rudiger,
surprised to
Mindy.
see Jude rest, honestly. I mean, I get it. Like, yes, we just came off a very difficult Champions League game, but this is El Clasico. Like, I mean, this is you have to put your best foot forward. You have to go out there, especially at home, and you got to beat Barcelona. You just have to. I mean, you're wearing the Real Madrid crest on your shirt. Like, this is what you play for when you come to Real Madrid. So,
Yeah.
I think I think Vinny is going to be the one that sits out this match, but I would expect Rodrigo, Jude, Tchouaméni obviously will play because he missed on a red in the Champions League game. So I would expect a strong lineup. The lines are kind of juiced a little bit. I was hoping to get both teams to score and over 2.5 at a better number. Is that
Dude,
like
same.
minus
It's
one?
minus.
Yeah, see it like minus 135 on DraftKings right
Yeah.
now. It's
that's
not
not
awful.
bad.
It's not awful. I
Yeah.
might take it, depending on if I can get some more information on, what lineup Madrid is actually going to put
I
out.
think you gotta wait. I just think
You have to
Yeah,
wait. Yeah.
the fact that
but
he said
if you
that,
wait, yeah,
yeah.
if you wait too long though, that line's going to skyrocket up. But
But
I
then I
do
just
kind of,
wouldn't play it, you know?
yeah,
Just
I
the
mean,
fact that he said
not for nothing, and I hate to say this, obviously he's a Madrid fan, but Barcelona team total over 1.5 at plus 150 has some value in my opinion.
Dude, I
I
even think you
mean,
could play over 3. Like, I think this game is going to be goals.
for sure. I mean, I could see a 2-2, 3-2 type match. But yeah, I mean, Barcelona, they've been playing well, and they were playing very well versus PSG until that red card. So,
Mhm.
another team that this is what they have to play for. They're chasing Madrid in the league. So, it's a big match. I would expect top, obviously, a full lineup from Barcelona and a top lineup from Madrid for sure.
They have nothing left to play for, Barca. I mean, I guess they have the league to play for. So if they win this, then suddenly it's a 5 point gap. And we're getting, ooh, this is interesting. But I mean, Madrid are probably going to win this league, but outside of that, they have nothing else to play for. And they just got
Yeah.
knocked out by PSG.
Mhm.
So it'll be interesting. What are you thinking, Brad?
Yeah, I was gonna go both teams to score on over 2.5 once I get a little bit more lineup clarity. I also like betting Barca on a couple different angles in the corner market. I know for sure I'm gonna take them plus half on the corner market. Wait, let me make sure that's right. Hold on, let me pull this up. I think it was plus a half. No. Okay, it was plus 1.5. I knew plus half wasn't right. It was plus 1.5 on the corner market. I just think that this is an opportunity if we have any sort of rotation, even if it's just a couple players for Madrid, for them to control the midfield a little bit better because their midfield's not great. But Barcelona also are really good at pushing towards the boundaries. They have players that are good at driving defenders backwards. So
Yeah.
basically, when you're betting corner props, you want guys on the wing who do that, like Yamal. Yamal drives straight towards the defender, pushing them towards the boundary. That's how you get corners. And so like I think that getting plus 1.5 is a very good price.
Beautiful, beautiful. Well, that's really all I had to talk about in La Liga. Is there anything else in La Liga that you guys feel really strongly about?
No,
No, not this week. No.
Cool. I'm glad we've
Just
agreed that this is a washed league. We can move on. Next.
the matchups are tough this weekend. Like I didn't
Yeah.
find a ton that I loved as far as
you can
for
bet
the
that
betting
Celta under.
aspect. That's what it feels like. It feels like an under kind of weekend, which worries me because I hate betting unders and I don't, but it just like skimming through it, first look, there wasn't like a ton that I loved this weekend betting wise.
The only other game that I looked at was Alaves against Atletico, because Atletico money line is -110, and that's when you get to play the game of, that's a nice price on Atletico. They are playing away from home though. Are they going to choke this? It's going to be a draw, or are they going to beat a team that they should beat every single time? It's a
Yeah.
fun game, and most of the times that I play this game, I end up getting fucked, usually on a last minute equalizer. So I'm not going to take Atletico money line, but I wanted to talk about it because the number always looks so nice. And then you're like, why is it that nice? And then you're like, Atletico are playing away from home. Okay, that makes
Yeah,
sense.
their defense has just been shit this year too. I think
I
they're on
don't get
11
it.
straight games now
Yeah,
without a clean sheet.
weird. Very weird, especially considering I was just gassing up Simeone's ability to, orchestrate a defense. Fuck is he doing, man? You're making me look stupid
Dude,
in front of
for
all my
real.
friends. Never like that. Anyway, if we're happy with that, I think there's one really interesting game in the Bundesliga that we want to talk about, which is Dortmund against Leverkusen. This one is massive for Champions League qualification, which, to be fair, might end up not being massive. And I say that because Dortmund are in fifth place on goal difference behind Leipzig in fourth, but they're still in the Champions League. Because obviously, if you win the Champions League, let's not forget, if you win the Champions League, you're in next year automatically. But let's also not forget that Germany have two teams in the Champions League semi-finals, which means they might have a good enough UEFA coefficient to get that fifth spot, where fifth place in the league gets you a Champions League spot, because obviously we have a new format in the Champions League next year. It's expanded a little bit. And so a couple of leagues might get 5 teams in the
Yeah.
Champions League. And England are now perilously in danger of not getting that. I don't think they are going to get it, because right now our hopes lie with Aston Villa in the Conference League, with Liverpool, City, and Arsenal all going out in the same few days. So it might end up being Italy and Germany that get the fifth spot, in which case Dortmund, if they come fifth, would get it anyway, regardless of their Champions League spot. But you can't assume that, you know, you can't assume that. And so you have to assume top 4 is Champions League, and they're currently fifth on goal difference, playing Leverkusen at home. So how do we think this one's going? Because I think this one has a lot of potential.
Okay, I want to say I do like a bet in this match. It's Dortmund double chance and under 4.5 goals. We've seen this in every league where a team wins the league really early in the season. That match, after they've had their little parade and celebration, they are horrible, horrible. I remember the best one when I was sitting when Barca won the league. I can't even remember who they were playing. And they were like, oh, they're going to do the trophy celebration. They're going to do the trophy celebration. The match was so bad. ESPN took the match off right the second they
Oh my
blew the
God.
whistle. The
I think
second they blew the whistle. I think it was like 1-0 Barca lost, but like nothing happened.
I do remember
Maybe
that.
like 6 shots
Yeah,
combined between both teams.
it was
It
really
just
bad.
happens so frequently. I think that Leverkusen, they're gonna kind of have that. They literally just played on the road in freaking London. Now they're coming down playing in Dortmund. Not that the travel's nuts, but it's still enough to where I think they can just kind of pack this one in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I kind of leaned goals in this match. Like you said, I think Leverkusen, even today, they, kind of flat-footed today. They always somehow find a way at the end to pull a goal out of their ass
Yeah.
and draw level or win a match or something like that. It just doesn't matter. So you got to think that they're going to score one regardless. But like I was leaning kind of Dortmund, maybe team total over 1.5 at -120, or the over 3 Asian total in the game at -130. Both lines I like, because I just think Dortmund are coming off a huge win. They're home again. They have a ton to play for. But like you said, I mean, they could. I don't know how they're going to look at it. Like, are they going to look at it like, okay, we're going to go really hard in Champions League and try and win the Champions League so that we're guaranteed a spot, or are they going to fight for the top 4 for Bundesliga and get a Champions League spot that way? So, to me, I just think that this is a match that they take uber serious, and that Leverkusen, they've been conceding goals, but somehow they always find a way. So for me, it's if Dortmund can get on the board early, I think we see some goals in this one.
That's fair enough. It's also worth noting
I want
that,
to have a short rebuttal on that.
yes,
Yeah.
do it.
I just like if you want to talk about like I just think the numbers for me, I'm just think 4.5 is just a big number. You could still hit your 3 if this ends 3-1.
Oh
And
yeah, no, I
usually
mean
that's what I think
four
it's
and a half is
four.
a huge number.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's why I took it there.
yeah. I mean, I would. That's why I'm going to wait for lineups to see what they look like. If Leverkusen do rest a bunch of key players, I might just do the Dortmund team total. But I could see a minimum maybe 2-1 type match where the three pushes. Or like I said, Leverkusen always seem to find a way. They're keeping this unbelievable streak alive. Where if Dortmund go up two, Leverkusen's gonna, they're gonna come back and score two,
Yeah.
and it's gonna end 2-2.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, I agree that the game after winning a title is usually just like that's the party game that you kind of throw away. The
but
problem
they
is
just, but they just had it, right?
I guess, but they were traveling. It's a different kind of hangover. The problem is that they still have this record going, and I think they really care about this record because who wouldn't?
I mean, who
Yeah.
wouldn't? I know exactly.
But I
Yeah, I mean,
think Dortmund are probably the best chance. I think I haven't looked at their schedule extensively, but I think Dortmund is probably the best chance of this unbeaten streak being ended, at least in the league, and probably all round as well. Because I think everyone wanted a Liverpool, a Liverpool Leverkusen Europa League final, or even get AC Milan involved. But now Milan and Liverpool are out, so who's going to beat Leverkusen? Roma? I think that's the best
Hell
chance
no.
no,
that's the best chance. It's that or Atalanta. And I don't trust either of them to beat Leverkusen.
yeah,
So
no.
maybe it all lies with Dortmund. And as an Arsenal fan who was very defensive of his season unbeaten and 49 game win streak in the league, I would love someone to put an end to this record sooner rather than later before it gets too crazy.
I mean, I hate that Adeyemi, however you pronounce his name, is out. And I still don't know what the deal is with Malin. Like
Yeah,
he just I've been reading things that the club's just gonna sell him. So I don't even think he's gonna play the rest of the season. I
that's
have no
weird.
idea. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on with him.
It just
You
signed
know,
him like a year or two ago.
yeah, and then I went in after I sent you that tweet about, him not coming to the hotel for the Champions League match,
That
that
was
he
a
wasn't going to
bummer.
be starting.
Yeah.
And then I started like reading, going down a rabbit hole, and people were saying that like he's done, they're going to sell him, like he's not going to play the rest of the year.
Hmm.
I have no idea. I'm interested to see if he does play.
Interesting. I guess we'll see. Now, there isn't much I want to talk about in the other leagues. In fact, the only game I had circled for Serie A is Hellas Verona against Udinese, just because it's a massive relegation battle and because both teams to score is almost even money and it keeps hitting in their matchups. And I'm a big fan of both teams to score in relegation battles because assuming you get a goal early, someone has to respond. But that's really, out of all the Serie A games, I'm surprised that's the one that caught my attention. But
You're a
it
sicko.
is. Yeah, I know. But I'm a sucker for a nice close to plus money on a both teams to score, especially when it's two shit teams playing, because when two shit teams play, it's either a shit game and no one can score, or it's a great game because no one can defend.
This
But
is
that's
um this is a game where you could probably put your mortgage on Verona to have more corners than Udinese.
okay.
Udinese is like one of the worst teams at earning corners, and the price is minus 120. I wouldn't even bother playing the first half, which is normally my favorite because
Hmm.
it's Italian teams outside of Fiorentina don't get a lot of corners, but Verona at home against Udi, like, dude,
Yeah, I
I'm
got
so
nothing in this.
glad.
I got nothing in this one. I did look at some lines because I knew we were going to talk about it, and I think draw no bet for Verona at minus 130 is favorable. I think they are the better side here and at home. Um, but yeah, for me, this is
if you like Verona, I think you should like both teams to score. Why I say that is because I think Verona, for them to win, will have to score 2 goals. I think Udi's they're just find a way to find the back of the net. I hate both teams to score in Italy anyways, but if you like
well. That's
my
why I was
fear
kind
is
of
it
leaning
would
to
be
draw no
Verona.
bet because if it's like 0-0, and then it's
Yeah.
just like no one fucking scores because
Dude.
it's Italy,
Yeah, you're like, oh, okay. 0-0, we're good.
Yeah, I got burned on it before, to be fair. Like and you're so right, Brad. It's such a Serie A thing because I think it was Genoa against Juve. I forget exactly who they were playing. It was a few weeks ago, because I was off watching the New York City half marathon. So I was up super early at 6 o'clock in the morning and the game was on at 6:30. And I was like, oh, fun. I get to actually see what's going on in this game now. Both teams to score was like plus 105. I was like, sick number. It keeps hitting in this matchup. And then the game ended 0-0. Like I just forgot to check my phone because I got no notifications. And then I got final score 0-0. And I was like, oh shit, that game was going on. I forgot about that. So maybe I'll leave the game alone, but that's
I mean,
the
he only has 12 goals in 15 road matches this year. That's just
Yeah.
like, yeah,
brilliant.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, that's all I had there. The other game I wanted to talk about is over in League 1, over in we France land, and that is PSG Lyon. Brad, I know you like this game because oh no, not Brad. This is you betting the pitch. This is your best bet. I forgot. I got confused because we all have both teams to score over 2.5 for our best bets, which is fun. We all love goals. But yeah, PSG Lyon. So I'll let you take that one away as it's gonna segue nicely into our best bets segment.
Yeah, so this game is for my best bet. Both teams score over 2.5 at minus 120. Leon's been playing much better of late. They have a ton to play for to try and get into that top six, top four spot. PSG also has a lot to play for to try and wrap up this league. But yeah, for me, this game just screams goals from both sides. I mean, PSG struggle to keep opponents off the score sheet, and Lyon is just playing very well with the additions that they had and that they added. So I like goals in this one. I think it's going to be a back and forth match. I think it's going to be open, and I would expect Mbappe and company to play in this one. So it's going to be, I'll wait for lineups to make it official. But if it's full lineups from both teams, I think the value at minus 120 for BTTS and over 2.5 is it's there.
Fair enough. Well, I say that segues us very nicely into our best bets segment. That was Mr. Betting the Pitcher's best bet. Both teams to score over 2.5 in PSG Lyon. Brad, I'll let you take away your both teams to score over 2.5 because, as I mentioned earlier, we all have the same prop in different games. So let's hear it.
Yeah, I'm taking both teams to score and over 2.5 in Luton versus Brentford. Luton Town are the number one team in both teams to score in the Premier League. They have a lot of defensive injuries, and for once, Brentford's attack's finally healthy. And Mbeumo, Mbappe, Wissa, and Tony all available for services. I actually have another bet that I want to give out in this because I'm going to give out my article that comes out tomorrow, but I'm going to be a freaking sicko and I'm going to take Luton Town team total over 1.5.
Ooh.
It's going to be tough for Brentford to keep Luton Town out once. They've in like 4 of their last 6 matches, they've conceded 2+ goals. They've conceded, on the road, they conceded multiple goals to a lot of bad teams. Why can't Luton Town get 2 at home? They've been playing better. They score all the time at Kenilworth Road, so you're already getting 1. This game could just go absolutely bonkers, and to get a nice plus like 145 price on it, why would you not take it?
Fair enough. I like that a lot. I'll round it out with a league that we don't talk about on this podcast very often, a bit of MLS action. And I think you guys will like this one because the hit rate is incredible. Both teams to score over 2.5 in the LA Galaxy against the San Jose Earthquakes. It is the MLS After Dark game on Sunday night. It is minus 132 on FanDuel. For comparison, it's about minus 145 to minus 150 elsewhere for good reason, because both teams to score over 2.5 is basically an automatic bet for me in any LA Galaxy game. They were an absolute wagon for it towards the end of last season. It hit something like 9 or 10 games in a row to close out the last season. It's hit in 6 out of their 8 games this season, and it's hit 8 games in a row in this particular matchup in this nice little California derby between LA Galaxy and San Jose. So minus 132 on that, I definitely see shifting to probably, I assume it will close around minus 150 on FanDuel because that's where everyone else seems to be leaning. And I think it's just great value on a game that is going to be so back and forth because Neither of these teams loves to defend, so that is absolutely my best bet for this weekend. A
Hell
little bit
yeah.
of MLS supremacy right here. It's a great league. We should talk about it more often. But that
I
rounds,
like the MLS to watch it, but every
that's
time I
fair.
bet it, I lose money. So
Fair enough, fair enough. Well, I wanted to round it out with we had a couple of questions from people in the Discord they wanted us to talk about. One I think is one that we've talked about already just by talking about these games. It came from I Go By Melanie, and the question was, what do teams at the top have to do to win the Premier League and the teams in the relegation zone need to do to survive? I think we've all kind of agreed that City have to just drop points somewhere, and then Arsenal and Liverpool have to hope and pray. And if City don't drop points, then that's it. And I think we all kind of think they're probably not going to do that as much as we might like to hope. We might like to hope that Wolves or Spurs might get a result. It's probably not going to happen. So it's kind of hope City drop points and pray. And then with the relegation battle, like I mentioned earlier, I guess it's going to come down to how do you play against Everton?
yeah.
Because, every team down there is going to have to play Everton. They all play each other in such a close period of time. So it's just going to be a matter of, okay, the teams in the relegation zone, you guys are going to have to push for this. And the teams outside the relegation zone are going to play for a draw because a draw is not dropped points to someone below you. So I think it's going to be interesting. You guys agree with that, would you say?
I would say don't lose games at home, right?
I like that.
Like you win your home matches and then you just go from there.
Fair enough. And then the other question, which sadly, I don't think we're going to have time to talk about today, but I think it would be a great one for our next episode, came from Mr. Jerry Betts himself. And I'll leave you guys the weekend to think about this one because I think it's a great question that we could really expand upon. And the question is quite simply, which domestic league is the best? I
The
like
best
that
what?
question.
Like
Yeah, right? That's all he said. That's all he gave me. So let's ponder that one. Take the weekends to think about it, and then maybe we can come back with all the different ways that we can interpret what does the best mean, best in Europe, the most competitive league, the most entertaining league, lots of different ways to read into that. So let's take the weekend, shall we? Have a
I
good
think
think
I
about
think
it.
I think the best league in the world is probably the Premier League.
Nice. Fuck yes. Let's
And
go.
then, but for
Sam
me,
said done
like
and dusted, baby.
for my betting purposes, I've had the best luck in MLS betting.
Yes.
Mr.
So
Pitch is
Yes.
ready. I thought we were
Let's
waiting.
go.
I mean,
MLS best league.
yeah, I just know off the top of my head that MLS has always been the most profitable for me.
It's so good.
But I think Premier League is just the best league in the world. It just is, in my opinion.
Brilliant. We've agreed that the Premier League is the best league and the MLS is the second best league in the world. No need for further debate. Brad, I'm going to take your silence as a yes. Sam is correct. And yeah, brilliant. Although I do want to talk about that in further detail because I think that's a really fun one. And someone else gave us a really fun question on Twitter, which again, we don't have time for, but I think it's a really interesting one. And they basically asked if the Ballon d'Or ceremony had awards like NBA does, who would you give? Now, there's like MVP, which is the Ballon d'Or, which we kind of talked about in the Premier League, but then you have like sixth man of the year, who's the most effective player off the bench, and defensive player of the year, things like that. So
Yeah, it
that's
was a good question. That we'll
that's a
definitely have
great
to,
question.
yeah, that I'd like
Big
to
fan
dig
of that
into.
one.
Yeah.
Well, take the weekend, have a good ponder while we get through our weekend soccer action, and we can come back with that one in the next one because those are a couple of really good questions. Anything else you guys want to plug before we sign off?
Man, just make sure everyone follow me on X at Mr. Brad Thomas. And my article will be on NBCSports.com. Premier League betting power rankings. We've been having a great season. Let's continue to cash it.
Follow us all on X. You can follow me, Betting the Pitch, and join the Discord. Join the Gold Boys Discord.
Yes.
I mean, we're fucking
Damn
killing
right.
it over there.
Follow me at FIFA Brit on Twitter. And yes, if you aren't in the Discord, sign up at goldboys.com. And yeah, thank you to the Gold Boys Network for hosting this podcast. This has been the final third. Shout out to Mr. Brad Thomas and Betting the Pitch. And of course, yours truly, me, Sam, aka FIFA Brit. Been a fantastic episode. Pleasure chatting it up with you guys. And I'll catch you next week. Have a good one, gentlemen.
See ya.
Peace.